just bringing your attention to something that will happen a bit later on today. It involves the Transport Workers Union, and a decision. This will sound pretty morbid, but nevertheless this is a decision to bring attention to something they say needs to change, and there's going to be an advance memorial, if you like, in Perth for what the TWU says will be 330 people who will be killed in truck-related crashes across Australia on our roads in the coming year. Talk about why they've taken that step. Tim Dawson is the TWU branch secretary here in WA. G'day, Tim.
How you going, Gary?
Yeah, it's a big step. You're obviously trying to draw attention to it. Why now?
Well, we're always drawing attention to it, Gary. I mean, today isn't the first time, and it won't be the last time that we draw attention to, the chance of our members and other road users and truck drivers being killed on the road by, what we see as, major companies, Coles being one of the culprits in, causing, well, they're not specifically causing the accidents, but in what they do in driving down rates for truck drivers, squeezing truck companies.
All right, so you say that you're calling on them, and this is your way of doing it, to adopt safe practices. What could change overnight that would help?
Well, what could help is by Cole sitting down with us and talking to us in ways that could improve road safety, by companies such as Coles making sure that they don't put pressure on transport companies, which then put pressure on drivers to cut corners in the fact that drivers may speed at times to get to their destination, skip rest breaks, or illegally overload their vehicles.
And they tell you that all the time, I take it, the drivers, the pressure is on?
Well, they do, and not only they tell us, but the statistics say that that's what happened. I mean, historically, over, a number of years, over 330 people die in truck-related crashes around Australia.
And have you got specific evidence that points to the supermarket chain? Their vehicles?
Yeah, well, the evidence is that their drivers tell us that that's what happens. I mean, we talk directly to the people who operate them vehicles, the companies that use that have contracts with Coles. I mean, they're not going to go out and openly say it. That's why they come to us, Gary, as their spokespeople, because they don't want to put their contracts in jeopardy as much as they want safe roads and the people that they engage to drive safely. The pressure's on them to put pressure on these people.
Are we talking the long haul stuff here specifically? You're talking about those that have to head off to the northern towns and cities of Western Australia that actually go through this, or are we talking in and around the metro area as well?
Look, long haul is the predominantly where the problems are, but it's not just there. It is around the metro area, and it's not just that. People take shortcuts on the maintenance of their vehicles because there's a difference between putting food on the table and servicing their trucks, and people will tend to put food on the table before they'll service their truck.
Some would say, well, surely the supermarket chains and other companies that use long-haul drivers and trucks can only apply the work conditions that under law. You're saying that the laws are being breached, or are you saying they're just being stretched a bit?
Well, they've been breached, Gary. There's drivers out there that falsify paperwork when it comes to fatigue management because of the pressure that they're put on by their prime contractors. Which it all flows downhill, and there are ways and means that people breach these regulations all the time, and we see it. West Australia alone. I mean, there's not enough done to enforce the legislation that's already in place.
You just say it's because of unrealistic scheduling and times when truck drivers are supposed to arrive at their point by?
Oh, it is, and even if it's not unrealistic time schedules, it's the pressure of the cost that they have to make money, so they have to turn a wheel to make money. They get to their destination and they may be held up for hours without any pay because there's no waiting time in their contracts. So if they get to a DC store or get to where they pick the freight up from, and it's not ready, or they've got to wait in a queue and they wait for hours, then they don't get paid for it. So when they have the opportunity to make money is when a wheel turns, and they will take shortcuts, and they will make sure that the wheels keep turned as much as they can to make up for downtime.
Have you heard from drivers, members that just say, look, it ain't worth the risk anymore, I'm going to go do something else?
Oh, you do, but what do they do? I mean, they're tied up, especially the owner-drivers. They've put their house on the line to go and buy a truck and become small business people, and they don't have a choice. They just can't go and park the truck up in the backyard and go and work somewhere else. They've got to keep, they've got to pay the banks for whatever it is they've borrowed for that truck, and potentially they could lose their house if they don't keep the wheels turning. So it's pressure all the time, and we've got the RSRT, which is the Road Safety Remuneration Tribunal, which was set up by the last government, and we've got a government currently that's talking about reviewing it. But we know what is hidden behind review. It's about getting rid of that. And then when you've got companies like Coles paying $1.2 million in donations to that party, and then looking at that party then making decisions against something that we believe and is showing that it makes the roads safer. It's a disgrace.
Yeah, you're saying that particular agency is perhaps the only chance you have to affect the sort of changes, or to police what's required.
Well, it is. It's an independent body that people can go to. We can go to on behalf of truck drivers, or truck drivers, owner drivers can go there themselves and put the facts on the table, and it can be shown that that they're under pressure, that they're being squeezed to keep operating outside regulations and taking shortcuts, and all it does is make roads unsafe. And as I said earlier, 330 people killed a year on the road through truck-related crashes. I hear that. I think this morning you were talking about the 161 already up to date that's died on West Australian roads. We should be doing everything we can to make our roads safer, to make our children and our families safer on the roads. And the RSRT does that. And to have a federal government that's willing to put people's lives at risk by measly weasel words in reviewing something, when really all they're saying, and we know what governments say when they review. It means, how can we get rid of this? And getting rid of safety on the roads, it's a disgrace, mate.
All right, now you did single out in your release, and I'm assuming at the service that you're having later on today, which will look at 330 lives that will be killed, you say, in truck-related crashes. You single out Coles Wesfarmers. What about Woolworths?
Well, Woolworths currently are talking to us, and Woolworths are looking at putting in charters to make sure that companies that they contract to will do the right thing. So, there's a company that's doing the complete opposite to what Coles and Wesfarmers are doing, and that is that, they're willing to sit down and see how we can make our roads safer. So, that's why we're talking, we use companies that don't do the right thing. We're willing to support companies that do the right thing, and while they say the right things, and not just say it, but they are actually doing the right thing at the moment, then we're not there to attack them, but they got to know that they need to continue to do the right thing, or they'll be on the list as well.
Tim, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thanks for your time, Gary.
Tim Dawson, Transport Workers Union Branch Secretary here in WA. A memorial service will be held in advance, as they say, for 330 people they say will be killed because of truck-related crashes on our roads. They're specifically targeting Coles Wesfarmers. Cohen Truckies, what's the deal? Is it that bad at the moment that these sort of... it's symbolic, but it's pretty potent, isn't it, to warn people that there will be 330 lives lost in the next year because of truck-loaded crashes. The union says could be stopped or reduced in terms of numbers, just if changes were made to the sort of driver scheduling that goes on. What's your view? I know a lot of truckies listen to the program. 92211 882 is the number. It's 9:45.
The 6PR morning program for Permapol.